Okay. Another method on solving quadratic equation is by factoring. This is the second method on how you can solve quadratic equation. And as you all know, when you were in grade 8, you studied special products and factoring. So this is just like a review of your lesson last year, but with an additional information as well. So when we say we are solving for quadratic equation, you are solving for the value of the unknown. In this case, the value of the variable, which we have done in the first method, which is by extracting the square root. Okay, so let's proceed. Our first example is n squared plus 2n plus 1 equals 0. This is a quadratic equation in the standard form, wherein the value of a, b, and c is 1, 2, and 1 respectively. Okay, so how to solve quadratic equation by factoring? So first, since the left side of the equation is already trinomial, we can factor this using the factoring of quadratic trinomial. Okay, so here it goes. When you factor a quadratic trinomial, it will come out as the factor of two binomials. Okay, the first term, n squared, can be factored out as n and n. Now, all you have to do is to consider the last term, which is 1. What are the two numbers when you such that when you multiply them will give you a product of positive 1, but when you add them, it will give you a sum of positive 2. And the factor of positive 1, obviously, isa lang yan. The factor is 1 times 1. When you multiply 1 times 1, the answer is 1. But when you add 1 plus 1, the answer is 2, which is equal to the middle term. Okay? So we now have the factored form of the left side of the equation. Next step is you'll apply the ZPP property. ZPP, also known as the zero product property. It means that each factor on the left side of the equation must be equal to 0. So, kaya kunin natin yung n plus 1, equate it or make it equal to 0, and the other factor again, n plus 1, equal to 0 as well. That is CPP, making both factors be equal to 0. With that, you now have a linear equation on this side. All you have to do to get the value of n is to transpose 1 to the right side of the equation. That's why the value of n now is negative 1. From positive, transpose to the right side, you'll now have negative 1. Same thing with this 1 on the right side. Transpose it to the right side. Now, n is equal to negative 1. We use the APE or addition property of equality, or we transpose. So there are the roots are real and equal. We have two roots. Actually, it is considered as one root because along the number line, you can only see negative 1 appears one time. Okay? So the roots are real and equal. Let's have another example, or these are the procedures on how you can solve quadratic equations by factoring. 1. First, transform the quadratic equation into standard form if necessary. You will only do this if it is necessary. As you can notice in the previous example, we didn't perform number 1 because the equation is already in the standard form. 2. Factor the quadratic equation or expression, or factor the left side of the equation. 3. Apply ZPP or the zero product property by setting each factor of the quadratic expression equal to 0. Solve for the resulting equation and check the values of the variable obtained by substituting each in the original equation. You will do number 5 only if you want to be sure with your answers. Let's have another example. We have here m squared plus 3m equals negative 2. Yes, you're right. This one is not in the standard form. So, we must arrange it to the standard form based on the first step. So, all you have to do is to transpose negative 2 to the right side of the equation. And you'll have m squared plus 3m plus 2 equals 0. Remember that when you transpose, the sign changes. And then factor it out. The factor of m squared is m and m. Now, what is the factor of positive 2 such that when you add them, will make positive 3? Yes, the factors are 2 and 1. Ma'am, can we write 1 first on the left side and 2 on the other side? Yes, there's no problem if you'll have m plus 1 first and then you'll have m plus 2. They are just the same. Okay, and then we apply the ZPP. ZPP means zero product property. Bawat factor ay equal to 0. So, m plus 2 equals 0 and m plus 1 equals 0. You now have a linear equation here. Then solve for the value of m by simply transposing the constant to the right side of the equation. So, the roots are negative 2 and negative 1. There are 2 real and unequal roots in this particular quadratic equation. See you next time. Thank you.